Hello and welcome. Another week, another SUPERcast. This is episode 1 of the Super Ultimate Podcast Extreme Remix.
It's cool.
Let's let that sink in for a second here. We just need a moment of quiet to just really absorb all of the majesty in that title. Welcome back, everybody. We are here with another podcast, a new podcast, a better podcast, the Ultimate Podcast. As you can tell by the title, I'm your host, Zach GhostRobo, and my partner in panic is Mr. Gabriel.
Are we talking about it? No, right?
Yeah.
The why I'm panicked.
I
thought you were referring to the Skype thing.
We should.
You want me to talk about that very quickly?
I think you should mention your terrifying morning today.
I woke up, Zachary, and you know this story, so I'm telling you, forget Zachary. I woke up, everybody. I look at my phone because I knew we had to record the podcast. I was making sure. I don't know if Zach had texted me. I see a Skype message from a person named Zach. I said, what? And it's a link, and I click this link, and the image of the Skype icon was a image that Zach had just sent me in text the previous night. And I said, whoa, Zach's like playing a joke on me or something. So I clicked this link, and it's like this weird lady, and the webpage says something about clicking here. I'm like, I instantly click away because I see that this isn't Zach. There's no way this is Zach.
Let's be very clear that this isn't like a commonly used image. This is a very exclusive image.
Yeah, this is like super specific.
And it's not like exclusive in the sense of like it wasn't like we sent like creepy pictures to each other.
I'm not saying we don't, but in this case, that's not what it was.
No, but it was a specific image that, in theory, no one else would use in that way.
Yeah. So I thought that Zach had changed the Skype icon just to troll me, but sure enough, it was some dude named Zambu or Zabouj. I had a Z in the beginning and a J towards the end. That's all I know.
So all we know is that we may be being spied on by supreme government hackers. So this podcast, if it vanishes, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
But hopefully it won't. We are here with a new cast. You know the reasons why. We went over them. It is exciting moments because now we get to start fresh and for the long haul. So hopefully one day we reach episode 500.
Again, shout out to Joe Rogan. He's like on episode 720.
So, yes, it's the SUPERcast for short. That's what you see on the logo on your computer or iPhone or Android device. And then Super Ultimate Podcast Extreme Remix is the full name, which was divined by my mind at 1 a.m. in the San Francisco airport right before Super Bowl 50. I was sitting there, and there were two guys, and they were having this super intense conversation to the point, like, I thought, like, these must be, like, 30, 40-year-old men who look like professors.
Okay.
And they're talking about, like, the true meaning of happiness and how to, like, free yourself from, like, expectations and, like, how to really be present in the moment and, like, things that, like, again, you think these are just, like...
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, did these guys, like... Could you tell if these guys knew each other or was just like a random pairing that happened in an airport? Well, because those things happen.
Well, okay, so I turn around.
Yeah.
And it was a kid who looked like he was about 18 years old. And he was like in like just a normal like outfit. I don't know, like a t-shirt and jeans.
Okay.
And he was talking to this bigger dude who was like in like a cut like tank top with no sleeves, and not to be like whatever, but he had the appearance of someone that would not be talking about this kind of stuff at all.
Yeah.
And yet they were having this super deep conversation. So I'm like looking at them sitting in these two chairs facing each other, and I'm like, are they just like philosophical best friends like Gabe and I, and they're just having this great 1 a.m. airport conversation? Or did this kid just come and sit next to this guy and be like, I'm gonna like educate you on my wisdom?
Either one of those scenarios seems very cool, I think.
And so then I was sitting there, and I was like, we need a podcast name. And I was inspired by their just extreme Zen-like conversation. And so I was like, you know what, we need a name that has a double meaning, a name that can be shortened and lengthened, a name like SUPERcast.
Kind of like TLOP.
Yeah, kind of like Tlop. And just like that, we're not selling this. You can't buy it anywhere. It's only available for free.
Yeah.
We switched hosts. We have a new host. We're on SoundCloud now every week. So if you are an Android person or a non-iPhone person, you can grab it there. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. We're on YouTube. Maybe we're going to start doing it live from your street corner. We don't know.
We are on AM Radio 6900.
Yeah. I wish we were on AM Radio. That'd be a good achievement for us that we should try to before we get any further. I just need to clarify with people that I can't see Gabe. So I'm like very confused of where to look because for whatever reason this week's setup, I can't see you at all.
You can't see me.
So I'm like, do I look at the waveform that I'm making? Do I look at myself? Do I look at into the eyes of the audience?
I actually just thought of a way to solve it so that you can see me, but we'll do that next week.
Okay.
It would involve me stopping all of this, but
sounds good. So this show is jam-packed. We've got games we're playing, including Far Cry Primal, Street Fighter V, and Firewatch. We have a main discussion focusing on predictions for 2016 and the year in gaming. We've got some news bites highlighting Kojima's new project and Quantum Break, and we have a spoiler cast for Deadpool at the end of the episode. But before we get there, we're going to talk a little bit about reviews, the contest, and life in general. Gabe, you prepared that diary entry once per day since our last podcast, right?
I did.
And it has to be one sentence per day.
Okay.
So that's going to equate to about 100 days.
Okay.
And we'll just go through them, and that will give people a peek into our lives.
Okay.
So you can start with December 3rd.
Today I am scared. Oh, December 3rd, not today.
No.
Okay.
Well, maybe you wrote today I'm scared on December 3rd.
Today I wrote I am scared.
Okay.
Because of the Skype thing. It's freaking me out, Zachary.
It's
Someone
fine.
can see our text.
No, they can't. I think, honestly, either you were dreaming it.
I wasn't. I swear I wasn't.
Or maybe maybe it's just an extreme, like, divine coincidence.
I don't know.
It's like one of those come to Jesus moments where something magical happens and it changes your life forever. And now you're going to become a paranoid schizophrenic.
Hey, I was getting close before, so this is pushing me over the edge.
So we have a contest. If you'd like to enter this contest, you have to do 3 simple things. And they're tasks that any man, woman, or child can accomplish. They involve following us on Twitter, twitter.com/GhostRobo, twitter.com/VolatileGabe.
Links in the description for both.
And on the screen, if you don't like descriptions. And then the third one is leave a review on iTunes, and we would like it to be a good review. So leave a review, letting us know what you think of the show, positive, negative, that's okay. Give us some of your feedback, your favorite part of the show, you're excited for the new cast, you like the name, you think the name is amazing, you think the name is terrible. And then on episode 4, during the show, we'll pick a winner for a $200 Amazon gift card. This way, anyone around the world can enter. This way, even if you already have a console, you can still get use out of it. And this way, I can get it to you instantly. As soon as I choose the winner, bam. Before you can blow me a kiss, you'll have that gift card in your email. So all you need is an email address and
A Twitter account.
And an iTunes account.
Yes. And again, to slow that down, because you said that a little quickly. I know people sometimes, don't understand things on the first time. All you got to do, review us on iTunes. There will be an iTunes link in the description as well as on the screen right here. Bam. It popped up on the screen. Hi. All right. Besides that, follow us both on Twitter. He is at GhostRobo. I am at VolatileGabe. There you go. So we said this to you guys twice, so I don't want to see any comments saying, hey, how do I enter the
Also,
contest?
if you don't have an iPhone or an Apple computer, it's okay. iTunes is available on any PC around the world, so you can grab that and leave us a review, and then delete iTunes for all we care, if that's what you want to do. But if you want to be entered, leave a review. We'll read one for the next couple weeks, and then we will make sure that we pick the winner on episode 4.
Yeah.
So there will at least be 4 episodes of this podcast.
At least.
Hopefully times 50. I wanted to let you know, Gabriel, that I am going to be in a tournament next week.
I saw that, the Hot Pocket thing.
I am, and I don't like Hot Pockets at all, so I was like, okay, listen, if I do this tournament, I don't want to promote Hot Pockets, so I have to...
Wait, was that a thing that you actually did?
Yes. I said I'll promote the tournament, the event, but I'm not, like, shilling for Hot Pockets because they're disgusting. Anyhow, so I'm flying to California next week for 3 events. And this is in our efforts to share more of our lives and YouTube interesting stuff with you, so I thought we would just kind of incorporate this into the beginning of the show. I've got a Dark Souls 3 event next week.
Yeah.
Playing a bunch of that, and I'll be bringing videos and coverage back. I've got a Microsoft Games event where I'll be playing Quantum Break, among others.
Yeah.
Including Gabriel, Ori and the Blind Forest Deluxe. Which
I love that game.
I thought that came out last year for some reason, but apparently.
Well, no, the deluxe thing isn't out. It's just the original game.
I think it was supposed to be out by the end of the year, but it didn't. And apparently some unannounced games, or like not unannounced from like their actual announcement, but unannounced to be playable. I'm guessing Recore is going to be there.
Didn't that get pushed back?
I don't know, but I can't. What else? If you're going to have a Microsoft Spring Showcase, what else are you going to have there?
Gears.
Yeah, that would be insane.
I think they're getting ready to show that.
You don't think it's an E3 thing?
I'm sure there's gonna be like a big E3 reveal, but I still think they're getting
have
ready.
A preview event. Yeah, they could. So I'll be doing that, and then I'm going to this tournament where I'm competing against 4 other YouTubers: Jerome ASF, Mr. 360 Games, MLG Haunt. He's the guy who runs Super Panic Frenzy for Philip DeFranco.
Yeah,
and the most exciting one that I don't know if I'm afraid or excited, White Boy 7th Street.
He's the only one I know.
Yeah, I've never met the guy, but I did watch his videos way back when.
Yeah, he's interesting.
He's an interesting character, so that should be an interesting experience to talk about in the cast. And I'll have obviously lots of cool games to cover for you. Plus, next week, I am. Gabe, this is exciting news.
Okay.
I'm hosting a reveal of a character for an upcoming game that I like very much next week.
that narrows it down to one.
Yeah,
because not a lot of these games have character reveals, so
so I get to reveal that, which will be fun.
Like as an on-screen talent.
Like as I'm the one that all the websites are going to link to. Like my video is the video.
Is it? Oh, so it's not like a live event thing where you're
I wish.
I pictured it was going to be.
It's me. I'm dressed up as the character. Look at me.
No, I thought it was going to be like you hosting something. That's what I thought. Okay.
I would like that. I don't think I'm ready to host. I think I need to go to hosting school. I don't know who the teacher would be.
Me.
You're a good host.
I'm a fantastic
I picture
host.
you being a great house host. I picture like if I was at your house, I think you'd put like candies on my pillow.
Yeah.
I think you'd get towels, with my name embroidered on.
Yeah, a robe.
I feel like it would be quite the hospital experience. Have you ever seen The Office?
Yeah, many times.
There's an episode where Dwight has Jim and Pam over at his farm.
Yeah, you know what my favorite part of that episode is?
Yeah.
The Mr. James Halpert at the end, like every time he says he forgets his keys, so he goes back to the car.
Right.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I picture you being, like having different rooms that you can stay in, all sorts of just amazing hotel-like charm.
It would be like that, yeah.
I also wanted to tell you, Gabe, about a video I saw today, and it was a life-changing video.
Okay. Was it about how to hack somebody and see their text?
No. You're not being hacked. Don't worry.
Okay.
It was about Waka Flocka Flame.
Yeah.
And his producer, Rory, starting a vegan cooking show making vegan blueberry muffins. And it is the goofiest
None of these
ever.
things fit.
No.
I don't like his music or whatever, but I'm aware of who the guy is.
He's a rapper.
Mr. Waka, I'll call him.
And there's some classic moments where he's like, now we got to get the quinoa, and some really good things that he's like, most people don't assume a ghetto guy like me to be vegan, but I was just tired of feeling just big and out of shape, and my joints were aching, and I just want to feel good, so I now eat vegan. It's like,
I wonder if that made him feel better.
I hope it did.
It's not all the drugs he uses. It's none of that.
And then he said, he's like, let me tell you something. Believe it or not, my favorite kind of muffin is blueberry. I remember going to the gas station and you see those blueberry muffins and you just got to cop that pack. And I was like, that's very, I like how it was like a secret though. Like his favorite muffin was very
gas station muffins, the best.
Not even.
It's culinary like. Perfection is what it is.
Yeah. A lot of people get food from gas stations, but I never, because by the time I was a gas station patron, I already ate like a super freak. I don't really have any experience with gas station food, so for all I know, it's absolutely delicious.
Breakfast tacos from gas stations, I can get with. Besides that,
not so much.
Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah. But you know what? You know what we can both get with?
What?
Far Cry Primal.
Far Cry. Okay.
We'll move on to the games we are playing, and the first one is Far Cry Primal Early Access for the both of us. This game comes out on the 23rd, but we have been hopping, skipping, and jumping with Takar.
How many hours have you played?
I've played 5.
I played 6. Ooh, I got you.
You beat me.
One moment. Babe, can I have my phone? I threw it at her because I was getting a phone call from my mom. Uh-oh. And I wanted that away from me, so I chugged it at her. I almost hit her with it. And now I need it back so I can write down when we're starting to talk about Far Cry.
Speaking of moms throwing things, my mom accidentally threw a pencil at my head and it left a bruise.
Oh, are you okay?
I don't know.
Oh,
like,
man.
it was one of those moments where I looked up and was just like, why did you do this? Because, like, nothing was going on. And she's like, oh, my God, it flew out of my hand. I was like, how does that happen?
It flew out of her hand.
How do you accidentally fling a pencil at my forehead when I'm not looking? But okay. Guess my mom really loves me.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about zero English in this game and forced subtitles?
I don't mind it. They didn't speak English back then. You know, in 10,000 BC, I don't think the English language was around.
Probably not.
So it would feel a little weird for everybody to just be speaking perfect English. So it fits the theme and it fits the setting of the game perfectly. I was streaming it, and some people were saying, I won't play this because I don't want to be reading subtitles the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Far Cry Primal's like, you know, it's not like the characters are delivering like big monologues or anything like that. Yeah, there's a story to it, but
it seems like less important than ever before. Like, they're kind of like, go kill this guy, go get more people for our village, go find these feathers. Like, it's very,
I don't know how much the dialogue really matters.
It's very Primal. You know, like what they're saying is pretty Primal. I mean, it's basically a Far Cry game through and through. But
I don't know. I think it's different enough, I think.
That's what I was gonna kind of get at, was like, I like the fact that if you are gonna skin something over and over again, the fact that they kind of made more of a conversion than just a skin. Because I thought about like Assassin's Creed and like, okay, whether Assassin's Creed takes place in France or in, you know, Italy or in England, it's ultimately the same. But here they at least made a big enough change that it does kind of feel different enough to be its own thing, rather than just like, oh, now it's Far Cry 5, but instead of on an island or instead of up in the, you know, the mountains in the snow, now we're wherever, a desert. I like the fact that they at least went a totally different timeline, totally different era to add some unique elements.
All right, and to me that was the big question going into this. Is this a reskin of Far Cry 4? You know, are they just, is this a cash-in just because, you know, Far Cry's hot right now? Ever since Far Cry 3 came out, everybody loved that. So I think they put out 4 very quickly, and I think 4 suffered because of it. I think 4 wasn't a very special game like 3 was. I think 3 was really good. This one, my only want from it was, I want this to be different. I don't want this to be just a reskin and, okay, I get it. Now there's just animal enemies instead of human enemies.
Right.
And the setting is different enough, and the gameplay is different enough. The fact that, you know, you don't have 6 type of guns that all kind of feel the same. Here you have a very limited array of weapons. You have the bow, you have spears, and you have upgrades to those as well. I don't know if you got the slingshot yet, but you get like a slingshot type thing. That thing's very cool. I don't know. I think there's definitely enough changes, but I don't think anyone should expect this to be like revolutionary. It is still Far Cry. You're still liberating outposts. Like, you're still doing the outpost thing. You're still discovering new locations. You're still hunting. You're still gathering resources. All of that's still there. So I think the skeleton of a Far Cry game is still here, but they mixed it up enough, at least for me, that I think this is like, hopefully, the beginning of something cool and interesting with the Far Cry series, because they had Blood Dragon, you know, which is super different than Far Cry 3, even though, you know, it is a little bit reskinned, but just stylistically so different. Music's so different. And yeah, give us Far Cry 5 next year if you must, but don't give us Far Cry 6 right away. Maybe give us a different stepping stone. You know what I mean?
I hope it's a new take for Ubisoft, and we can get to that in a couple of minutes with Assassin's Creed and kind of their overall plan of what they said with that. But yeah, I like how the setting then plays into the gameplay and they kind of feed off each other. For example, nighttime in other Far Cry games, like, yeah, it was night, but you had enough lights and a flashlight and stuff where, okay, it's basically the same thing. Here, nighttime does feel far more threatening because, like, you have to rely on the fire that you have, which then can cause plenty of problems for you. You can light stuff on fire, which alerts people. You can accidentally light grass around you on fire, and I don't know if that's
you can light yourself on fire.
Right. I don't know if that's intentional or if your guy's just a clumsy dude or if it's a mistake in the game. But I feel like there's sometimes where, like, there's one mission I just played recently where you pretty much had to light yourself on fire, and I was like, how is this just like people were just dumb back then and they couldn't figure things out?
What mission is this?
There's one where you're going to get the takedown expert, because you go and kind of acquire these people for your village. That's something that's new as well. As
the village is, I think, the most interesting part of it.
there's a much heavier base building aspect where you start out in this little cave and then you expand out and get these experts who are like a hunting expert, a takedown expert, a climbing expert, and they will unlock new skill trees for you, unlock new weapons for you, and you kind of have to do their mission to bring them back, and they become the mission givers. But it's all framed within like this cool, hey, I got to build out my tribe and build out my village, and you see the population increase, and there's population requirements for things. Like you can't build certain upgrades to your village without enough people, and you get people via main missions, side missions, some of the more
instances as well. Those help out a lot.
Yeah, like the random things that pop up, which I think they're all cool. My concern is like 6 hours in, 5 hours in, I feel good about it all. But 10 hours in, 15 hours in, because you don't have as much variety, because it's not like, oh, you can build this cool fortress, or oh, you can build this, you know, really vertical thing, or you can fly through the air. Are they going to take us places to vary things up? Because like the combat is different, but it's very like fling the arrows, fire the spear, swing the club, and like you kind of repeat that over and over again. So I wonder if like, are they going to find a way 10 hours in to switch things up? And I saw something in the skill tree that has me hopeful, which is winter clothes.
So
I'm assuming there's
and this is all just predictive, we can't talk about it, but there are changes in the environment. Well, specifically one of the NPCs that gives you the missions, his missions are super cool.
Which guy are you talking about?
The one that gives you the ability to control beasts. Have you done any more of his?
I have not.
They're cool, man.
Yeah, I based on the embargo I have, I'm not allowed to do any more of his stuff. So that's
I did them. I just didn't show them.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm excited to get to them eventually. Yeah. And I think it has like a pretty cool charm in the sense that like the one guy pees all over you, and like another guy, so cool. You know, like they're very primitive, like, and it plays off really well. And I kind of like the vicious just behaviors that everyone has, and how they're like, we have to take down the Udam tribe, we have to take down the Azila people, we have to protect Oros and take it back for the Wenja. And I kind of just like that this whole tribal feel. It gives it kind of a cool, like you're revered for being a beastmaster. The fact that you can tame these animals and take them with you, and that's kind of the combat tweak that feels the most.
Taming animals is fun. How many have you tamed? Do you know? Just more or less.
Yeah, so far I've only stuck with 3 because I kind of like to name them and feel.
Oh,
really
you're feeling a connection to these. Yeah. No, I'm not. I want to collect them all. To me, it's like Pokemon. Like the bait that you throw out to you know, sort of tame them. That's the Pokeball. You're throwing it out. And I picture myself when I get close and you're holding the X button to tame them. To me, it's
waiting for the ball to wobble.
Yeah, that's the moment right there.
I got a rare black lion, a rare white wolf, and a jaguar.
Okay, I have a few. I have a dole. I have every wolf. There's 3 different ones. There's a regular one, like a black one, and like the rare one. So I have all of those. I have a saber tooth. I have a couple of more. I've gathered a couple of them now. I think maybe I'm up to like 6 or 7.
And then it's cool because you can use them. They follow you around, and you can use them to attack. You can send them off to attack. They'll crouch with you. They'll stay stealthy. And each animal has different stats. So some are stronger.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, some are stronger. Some are.
I was gonna say, depending on the situation you find yourself in. If you're gonna go do an outpost, right, and it's one of those outposts where there's an enemy that can sound a horn and alert enemies that are nearby to come mess your stuff up. You use a stealth, one of the animals that has more stealth, and you sick them after him. And not everybody notices him right away. The way if you send a Sabertooth in there, everybody notices him right away. Everyone's attention goes to the Sabertooth because, there's this giant cat that's mauling everybody. But I believe it might be the leopard or the jaguar, the one that's a little bit more stealthy.
I think it's the jaguar has 5 stars of stealth.
Yeah, okay, so it might be that one. So you can take them down more quietly that way. As well as with the, I don't know if you've unlocked this item, but it's the equivalent of like a throwing star that's like an instant kill.
Daggers?
Yeah, those.
Yeah, the shards, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're called, yeah.
I did wish that, like, because ultimately arrows, shards, and the slingshot, like, they all kind of accomplish the same task. I kind of wish they would do something a little different. Like, I don't know what the difference really between the slingshot and the shards are. Like, a headshot with the slingshot kills.
Yeah, but aren't the shards, like, instant kills?
Anywhere on the body? They might be.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't messed with them too much. The couple of times that I use them, they were an instant kill. So
yeah,
I don't know, but it was on regular basic Udam enemies because the other ones I can't pronounce their names. The blue guys.
Azila.
Izila. I always want to call them Isla. The Izila, they have more health, and then they have helmets. So that
I started fighting some of the Udam with helmets, and I was like, this guy won't go down. I was like, spear, just throw the club at him, light him on fire, whatever's happening.
Because usually an arrow to the head that takes care of him.
Right.
But you know, they have the helmet. You crack the helmet, and then even then, these guys are more powerful. So an extra arrow to the head doesn't always kill them right away. So
no, and I feel like this era fits the Far Cry formula the most. It makes the most sense, like going around and gathering all these plants and gathering all this wood and stuff. Like, yeah, sure, the characters in the past had to do it because they were surviving or they got stranded on this island, but here it really feels like, okay, I'm a hunter and gatherer. I have to go hunt. I have to go gather, and I like just like building up my stockpile to then be like, okay, I need to craft a bunch of arrows, and it feels like that whole loop of like throw your spear, go pick up your spear, shoot your arrows, go gather your arrows, like all makes the most sense and feels the best here, where it's like, I really am this prehistoric man in this wild, wild west of just complete chaos. And so it makes, to me, it feels the most immersive that like there's these wandering tribes, and my tribe, I'm trying to recruit people, as opposed to like, why are all these psychos on this island freaking out and attacking me? And, you know, oh, they come back to their outpost and just weird stuff like that.
Yeah, and before we move on, open world game fatigue, right? It's a thing that we've talked about on Twitter and on the podcast a couple of times, and I think it's something that's very real. You know, open world games are growing stale, but what I like about this is that I wouldn't even call this an open world game necessarily. To me, it's more like a sandbox game, because the world isn't humongous. Plus, the fast traveling.
There's a lot of fast travel in this game.
And it's so instant. It's so instant. Like, there's no like long loads or anything like that. The game runs beautifully. It's on
optimized well.
Yeah,
I think the lushness is 10 times better here than ever before. Like the height of some of the plants and the trees, like you really feel like you're in this very. It's not a jungle, but like a kind of like jungle environment where things are huge and all around you, and you're very covered a lot of times, and stealth makes more sense, and it just feels. I don't know. I feel like the graphics are exactly the same pretty much as like Far Cry 4, but I feel like tech-wise they push some things at least a little bit forward.
All right, one question I had, because somebody had asked me while watching one of my videos, hey, is this in 60 FPS? I said, my video's in 60 FPS. I don't know if the game's
The game's 30.
Yeah, is it 30 on PlayStation 4? Because I know it's 30 on Xbox.
Yeah, it's 30 universally. I still think it looks good. There's definitely some lighting stuff that looks really good, and some sunsets. I really like the day-night cycle. Obviously, it's an abbreviated cycle, and you can go and rest and change it to dusk or dawn, but I like the fact that like the sky changes and then the wildlife changes at night, and again it's really immersive. And I just unlocked I guess as a slight spoiler but not really, the ability to ride animals, which
I haven't unlocked that yet. I'm looking forward to it.
Did not even know that was a thing. So there's no vehicles per se, unless eventually you discover the wheel, but for now there's no vehicles, except there's animals and you can ride them almost like a mount, which I think will be super cool. And I've been surprised because I absolutely suffer from open world fatigue probably as much as anybody, but this one, I think just the fact that it is set so far back, the fact that the characters can't really be douchey or unlikable because they don't talk much, and the fact that it just feels very raw and rugged. Like, okay, it makes sense that I'd be grabbing all this slate because I want to build, more spears, or it makes sense that I'd be harvesting all this wood, and it makes sense that I need all these animal skins, and I don't know, I just feel like it is the most Far Cry ripe world to put Far Cry in. Like, it feels like a natural fit, and I'm glad that they didn't just make it another game in, some other tropical area.
Yeah, so it seems like we're both like pleasantly surprised with it.
I wanted to match up real quick before we go to the next one, though. I've been having issues, and I don't know if it's a pre-release bug or what, but there's some missions that you go to, and they're the orange circle missions.
Yeah, that you have to. It just sends them somewhere else, and you just got to walk there. And
I don't even get a marker. Like, it'll say like, oh, there's jaguars attacking our people,
well,
and I'm like,
it's not a bug. What's happening is you're supposed to open up the map and find that exact emblem again, because there's different ones. There's like search and rescue. There's beast.
So I'm looking for the emblem again.
Yeah, if you're looking, okay. Let's say you find the beast hunt or whatever. I think that's what they're called. You go back into the map, and right near it, and like in its vicinity, if he says it's down by the river, you go down by the river. It's his beast hunt.
I thought that was another start of another mission. I was like, no, I don't want to do another one.
I thought that at first, but I figured it out. It's not a bug. That's just how the game's designed. That's one of those like little weird things that it has going on. But
little clunky. I was gonna say,
shout out to the owl.
Yeah.
Somebody said it's a UAV from 10,000 BC. That's basically what it is.
You throw up the owl and you can control it, and then you can mark targets or attack. And I mean, stealth seems to be less important than it's ever been here.
Yeah, it's not important at all.
You get extra XP if you do it stealthy, but for the most part, it's like, all right, just use your stuff and go ham. I'm excited for more of the Beastmaster quest too.
Which we can't show any of them.
Right, but once we can, starting Monday, that will be super cool. And just how the game progresses, where it takes.
We can show those starting Monday?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to read.
I will copy and paste that info to you. But I'm mostly curious and excited to see, like, do we get to go up to those snowy peaks? Do we get to go? Does something happen to the environment, or how do they mix things up? Because, like you said, it's not the hugest map.
There is mix up. I'll tell you that. Again, we
know?
can't talk. Yeah, well, I've played a section that isn't in this area.
Okay, cool. Well, great. Then that's all I need to know. And like I said, there's some stuff in the skill trees that I like this time, because they've experimented with like branching paths and different kinds of skill trees. But I like the fact that this one is kind of like each section of the tree is owned by a person, so it feels like you're kind of training with one of these experts that you bring back to the village, and you only unlock their kind of skills once you bring them back to the village.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens once you upgrade their hut, because you can build their hut.
Yeah.
But then there's one level above that. I don't know what happens then.
Yeah, I don't know if that. I'm guessing it unlocks more missions or more skills or something. It seems like you're acquiring skill points really fast.
Yes,
so,
everything gets you skill points. Taming a new beast gets you a new skill point. Just doing any of the random instances, doing random missions, everything gives you skill points.
Makes me wonder if the game is not that long.
I don't know, man. 6 hours. I finished 12% of the game.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I did want to briefly just mention Assassin's Creed is taking the year off, and some of their quotes were interesting. They said that they will not necessarily go back to annualization if they don't feel like they can evolve the game enough over a year. And I wonder if Far Cry is going to take a similar approach, like you kind of mentioned, like, hey, let's do something very different with Far Cry 5, or let's make it a substantial leap over Far Cry 4, so we're not just getting the same things. And I think the first indicator of that will be Watch Dogs 2, which is inevitably going to fill the gap, because this fall Ubisoft has nothing right now. So I'm guessing it's Ghost Recon and
has to be
Watch Dogs 2, and so it'll be interesting to see like how much does 2 evolve upon 1, and how much does 2 evolve upon the traditional, open world format and formula. Can they prove that, hey, we're ready to really double down on game design and quality over just annualization and pumping these out?
Yeah. So I think Ubisoft is turning a leaf, man. It really seems like it. They've been making good moves.
Where that went?
What?
Gabriel, I can't hear you. What the heck happened?
You can't hear me?
Aha. Getting your voice back in 3, 2. Hello?
Yep.
There we go.
Okay. I'm making a note of when this is so I can edit it out.
Okay.
Is your recording still going on?
I'm good. Yeah, I just unplugged my headphones.
Okay.
I'm good.
Got it.
Okay, so let's
jump into Far Cry. I mean, Street Fighter.
Yeah, you can take us there.
Street Fighter, Zachary. How much of that have you played?
Well, I've probably played about 80% of it, which amounts to like 10 minutes.
I'm saying how many hours have you played? Because it also tells you.
Yeah, I haven't played a whole lot. I basically have just messed with some characters to see who I like and tried out their movesets and stuff in training. I haven't even gone online yet.
This is going to be like a rant section for me, man.
Good. I'm excited.
Because I like this game. I like it a lot.
It has good gameplay.
Fantastic gameplay.
The fighting is fast.
The slight improvements, or not even improvements, the slight changes from Street Fighter 4 to this one. Specifically the meter that gets you dizzy or whatever. What's that called?
Stun.
The stun meter. I like the way it works now a lot better.
Yeah.
Man, but this is half of a game, Zach. It's half a game.
It's less than half a game.
No, it's half a game.
Because it's half?
Yeah, the only thing it's missing is the story stuff and
challenges.
Shit. Yeah, challenges.
The store isn't even there.
The store's not there.
You can only earn points when you're online, but like if you do the single player stuff online, you get fighting points or fight points.
Yeah.
Fight dollars, fight money.
Yeah.
But if you're offline, you don't.
Yeah.
And you have to be connected online for stuff like survival. And if you get like kicked offline or the servers go down while you're during survival, it will just kick you out.
It does. Oh man, I was doing the normal difficulty one, because the way those work, if you do easy, it's 10 levels. You finish that, you get a new color for whatever character you happen to be using.
Oh, cool.
And you can use those online. The normal one is 30 matches. And I was like on match like maybe 28, and the servers just went off.
So stupid.
And I had to start all over again, and I haven't been able to get back there. I
So
haven't
dumb.
been able to get back there. I don't know, man. The fact that there's no arcade mode is super weird. Why not just put in an arcade mode?
It seems like that'd be so easy to drop in there. Like, you don't need anything. You don't even need cutscenes. Like, just literally put the regular arcade mode in there.
Yeah.
And give us some unlockables at the end. I mean, like you said, the core of the game is there, but it really is getting to this weird gray area where so many games, we saw it with Rainbow Six Siege, we saw a little bit with Battlefront, but not as bad, and now really bad with Street Fighter V. Like, they're taking online / free-to-play models, charging $60 for them, and still expecting people to buy DLC.
And here's the thing, though. I really like Rainbow Six Siege, and I really like Street Fighter. They are just so frustrating because they're not complete games.
Yeah.
They're just not. The challenge modes aren't even there. The challenge modes that teach you how to do combos with characters.
It's just ridiculous.
Street Fighter 4, when I wanted to learn a new character, I would go do the challenge stuff because that's how you learn the combos. That's how you get used to it. Here, it's just not here. It says it's coming in a free update in April. That's cool. People have no incentive to play the game right now unless you want to try to be competitive and play ranked matches online, which it won't even report, Zachary. Zachary,
Your poor wins.
dude, and it's frustrating as hell because I'm not the best Street Fighter player, but I'm competitive. I want to win, and it sucks because I was on a 6-game losing streak. I was playing terribly. I was playing very bad. I said, no, you know what? I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna put a podcast on. I'm gonna lower the game audio. I'm just gonna sit here, play some matches, have fun. I started doing better, right? I was on a 3-win streak, but it just wouldn't report my wins. It would only report my losses. So yes, I have the 6 losses, but it's not reporting the fact that, hey, that's getting even out. Give me my points back, because you get points taken away for your rank and all that.
Right.
Yeah, and I want to be matched up with players that are similar to my skill level. That's another problem the game has right now. They addressed it this morning on their Twitter account. They're saying that should be better now. Okay. But there's pro players being matched with complete noobs, and vice versa. I'm not a pro player, but it would randomly match me up with people that have one match in the game and have obviously never played Street Fighter before.
Right.
Get people of similar skill level together. And there's other times where I might as well be playing against Justin Wong, because that's what it feels like.
Yeah. Street Fighter is a hard, it's just a tough nut to crack, because on one hand, they clearly made this game for the competitive player. That's the focus.
They rushed it out for Evo. That's exactly what happened.
But at the same time, there's zero new player friendliness in this at all. Nothing about it wants to encourage new players, which then I don't know how you deal with sales unless they're going to rebrand the blocks come April, when they're hey, it's a full game now.
They've promised that they're never going to do that.
So I think this issue in general is going to come to a head where it's okay, either these games need to be released in their full form, or they need to say, hey, it's a $20 package, and then you can buy DLC to fill it out how you want, because $60 plus paying for all the DLC. I mean,
well, this DLC is going to be all free. Everything is here. Bless you.
I don't think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
The characters are not free.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, you can. Yeah, they are. You can
they
buy them.
They can be, but they will also charge.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have the option to buy them, of course, but they're free just like the Rainbow Six ones are free.
You have to grind out in-game money.
I think that they might have announced the price here.
100,000 points.
It's not that much.
You have 100,000 already?
No, but I still haven't played the game a whole lot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no. It's free DLC. You know what I mean?
In theory. It's not free DLC in the standpoint of how Garden Warfare just said, hey, here's our new maps, or how Halo is doing you still have to invest in the game.
That's just the characters. The challenge mode 100% free.
Okay.
The shop 100% free. The story 100% free. You got to do nothing to unlock these things. These are going to automatically be there for everyone. It's just the characters.
Are you okay then with say it won't happen, but say Uncharted 4 came out, was hey, 70% of the game is here, but don't worry, come May, the back third of the game will be released for free.
Hell no, but I think it's different with a game that's focused on multiplayer. Rainbow Six focused on multiplayer. So,
but at the same time, shouldn't those games that are focused on multiplayer give you even more, because there isn't that single player component? Street Fighter has almost nothing to do by yourself.
Yeah, it really does have nothing. Just the training and that mode that we're talking about, the survival.
And if you're offline, then you really have nothing to do, because you can't do survival.
You can. It's just not going to count towards anything.
which is a great feeling, as we know from your wins that didn't count for anything.
Yeah, no, I know. No, it's unexcusable. Like, I think this is extremely shitty practice, and I think it'll catch up with them.
Ignoring all of that, though, who are some characters you like?
I'm rolling with Zangief. I like Zangief a lot.
I can't do the big guys. I've never been able to do heavy characters in games, fighting games.
I think I'd wreck you with Zangief.
I'm sure you would. I was trying out. I like Rashid.
I like Rashid as well. In theory, I haven't played with him a whole lot. Armika, I like her.
Again, she's too big for me.
She's not big.
But she is like one of those grapple characters that I just don't.
Yeah.
I like Karen. She's pretty quick.
Is she like the breakdancer?
She's the one with like the undercut and like the longer hair, and then she does the electric move. And
yeah, I call her the breakdancer. She reminds me of Eddie from Tekken.
A little bit. She's pretty cool. It's a small roster.
Hey, the rest are gonna be for free, man. It's not that small.
It's way smaller than 4.
Yeah.
It's just a weird release. I mean, in general, like, I know people are questioning, like, why are they even releasing a new game? It doesn't seem that different, but like you said,
it is. The V gauge and the small system that they've changed up drastically. There's no more focus attacks, and
right.
It's changed a lot, really.
They just have some weirdness.
The speed of the game is way different as well. It's a quicker game. So
yeah, it seems like rounds last a lot shorter.
Yeah. Because everybody's just on the offensive all the time.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to play more of it and check it out. It's a really weird release. At the same, you're buying Garden Warfare 2 for $60, which we'll talk about next week, and that has so much in it. And then you buy Street Fighter 5 for $60, and half of it's not even there.
Yeah, I mean, but fighting games, no matter what, like, even if it did have a full story mode and it had the challenge mode, like, it's still not as much content as Garden Warfare.
Sure, but something like Mortal Kombat 9, like, a way bigger package than Street Fighter 5.
Sure. Or Mortal Kombat X, you mean?
Yes.
Mortal Kombat X is pretty big.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, it had a big story, and then it had all the features.
So big that it's getting an XL edition.
That's how big it is. The other issue, server issues that, they're working on, but servers are working terribly sometimes. I don't know. I don't know if they just didn't anticipate this many people buying it. Since it's exclusive to PS4 and PC, they figured we're gonna have a smaller player base this time, and that wasn't the case. I don't know what's happening, but yeah.
Honestly, like you said, I think they just rushed it out to get it ready for tournaments and stuff.
Yeah, because Evil season is coming, and you're gonna have the Wednesday night fight night things that they do, which are super.
The Capcom Cup, whatever that is.
Yeah, they're awesome. I love watching those things. But yeah, I think they rushed the game out, but it's a fun game. It really is. It's the same with Rainbow Six, like, so fun, and it's like my type of game. There's just not a whole lot there to where I can tell somebody comfortably, yeah, if you have $60 and you want to buy one game, go buy this. Like, no way. Yeah,
it's a rough purchase. Firewatch, though, that's a $20 game.
That is a $20 game, and I think it's worth every single one of those dollars.
I thought it was worth every one of those dollars for 4 hours and 59 minutes of the 5-hour adventure.
I still think it's worth it.
It still is. It's just, man, oh man, I don't think I've ever been more gutted by an ending than I was with that. Like, I literally sat there and it was just blown away, and not the blown away like, wow, that was absolutely amazing and changed my life, but we don't have to get into spoilers, but holy
let's
crap.
get into spoilers. It's not a long game. People that have played it, the people that are going to play it have played it by now.
Okay.
And I think that the story isn't why you're going to play this game anyways. You want to experience this.
I think the story is why, because other than that, there's not a whole lot else there.
The story falls apart completely in the end. So I think the journey. So we're not going to get into like super specific stuff. Well, I mean, we can say the ending though. Do you want to do? We'll put a spoiler.
No, I think what we should do is just, people who've played it know that when we say the ending totally falls apart and seemingly is just a complete 180 from everything else that just happened. Like, I think that clarifies enough. But I just want to know, like, that has to affect like how you feel about it though. Like, there's no payoff.
Maybe that's the magic of it. And here's what skewed me a little bit. When I first beat it, our Twitter conversation, our text conversation, I said that's the terrible ending, horrible.
Right.
And I've kind of, not completely flipped on it, right? I don't think it's a good ending at all. I do think it's still quite a bad ending. Mm-hmm. But listen to the people from Campo Santos. I don't know if you heard it, but they did the Kind of Funny podcast this week.
Okay.
And I really wanted to hear that because I knew Colin would ask like, hey, what the hell, like with this ending.
Right.
And sure enough, like it came up, and the way that they look at it is just so much different than when we look at it. You know, the way they didn't say this verbatim, but what I took away from what they were trying to do is like things like this happen in life. This game takes place in what is it, the 80s, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I believe it's like 1989 or something like that. There's no Facebook back then or anything. So if this were to happen to somebody back then, right, this would be it.
Yeah, true.
Like, we live in a world where you meet somebody one day, right, and you think you have a connection with them, and you don't see them again for like a few months. You could go look them up on Facebook, and you can continue the relationship that way if it really was meant to be or not.
Right.
But in the setting that this game takes place, like, this is the way things go in life sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, not everything in life gets resolved with like a little bow. I'm sure there's relationships you've had, just like I have relationships I've had.
Sure.
That sort of did just like mean nothing, and you thought they were super important at the time, and now it turns out that it was nothing. Like, yeah, it was cool while it was happening, but I don't know.
And for the person, like the more personal Henry and Delilah side of things, like that is great. It's the other part where they build and build and build only to like intentionally, haha, gotcha, that bugs me.
I don't think that's what it was though. Because
why is that even in there? Like, I would be totally fine if this game was like, hey, go, tell these teenagers to shut up and stop shooting fireworks. Hey, go fix this broken down wire. Hey, go chop down some wood. We, our power went out and we need to start a fire, locally. Hey, go and, call the police because there's reports of a robbery. Like, more mundane actions, and then you also have the relationship build and then the ending. That would be totally kosher and cool with me. But the fact that they get you so excited that this is going to be this super crazy. You've just stumbled upon the biggest mystery reveal of the decade, and then literally it's just like all the air deflates out of that balloon, and like you're left with the balloon itself is just vanishes. There's nothing for you to take away. Here's
what I want to say about it, and this is different, on a person by person basis. So with me, right? You've seen Lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're familiar with what it is. I thought that's what it was going to be, and they even brought it up on the podcast when they were talking with Kind of Funny, that they thought about like doing this like weird Lost thing where it would be like something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't say this, but what I took about it, it's all about perception. You know what I mean? These girls going missing, you and Delilah automatically start thinking the worst just because weird stuff is happening, and your mind wanders. You're out there in this environment where you're completely isolated, and the only contact you're having with anyone is with this one person on the radio. You have no human contact of any kind.
Right.
And this goes on for days and days and days at a time. So that has to do something to a mind. So when you see these kids, right, and they go missing all of a sudden, my mind would instantly jump to where theirs jumps too.
Yeah.
Right. But it turns out that what happened to them is a much more logical thing.
Right.
But the fact that you're in this isolation, you're seeing this like weird shadowy figure that, you don't figure out what it is until way later. You find out that someone's been listening to your conversation. This is super parallel to our Skype thing, by the way.
It's the same guy.
Like, in my mind, what am I telling you? Like, hey, like someone can read our text messages, because that's really what it seems like. And you're telling me like, no, it's probably just this like coincidence. It kind of mirrors it almost a little bit.
Oh, it for sure does. And like, yeah, that's fine. I don't feel like it is the best for entertainment value. I don't think that makes people happy when like it's building and building. Like, Psych, I get like from a, like you said, like a perception standpoint or a worldly standpoint, like, hey, this stuff happens. I just felt like their way of explaining away why everything seemed the way it was a little weak. Like, the actions of the character that we don't have to name, but those actions, they're pretty illogical in a lot of ways. Like,
it's an illogical person, and yeah. I think you're trying to project yourself into that person. This person did what he did. You know what I mean? And he brought that person with him on this thing, something that no rational person would do.
Yeah. So
like, I think you're trying to like instill some rationale into a man that has none. He's been out here. This, not to get into the spoilers, but think about where this person's been this entire time.
I love the game. I loved every moment up until like literally the last second when the credits roll and you're like, that's it. Because it's a very physical game. I like that you have to, open things and like pick up cans. Like I like stuff like that. I like when you have to like turn doorknobs. It's super physical. And
did you pick up every beer can like I did?
I did. Yeah, I was Mr. Waste Management,
and it's all
and I
for
was
nothing.
like, I'm like, I don't know where he's putting these, what he's doing. But one thing I heard somebody point out that I thought was super, just a really, what's the word? Like their comment was just spot on. Was that the difference between like this game and something like Gone Home or one I played recently called Dead Secret, where they're like walking simulators learning a story, is that this one is the story is happening as the game happens, as opposed to you like, oh, something happened and now you're here to uncover it, or you're going to walk like everybody's gone to the Rapture, Gone Home, stuff like that, where it's like similar gameplay, right? Yeah. Similar idea. But I love the fact that this one, you were like involved in it. It made me feel much more a part of the game, and I thought added a whole lot of excitement that like, okay, what happens next isn't already set in stone and happened and I just have to uncover it, but I get to, through my dialogue choices and through what I do, even if it didn't really amount to a whole lot of difference, like have an effect on where this story is going, and I'm living the story as opposed to just, you know, digging it up.
All right, what do you think about, I don't know if you've heard these, you know, just through forums or podcasts, whatever. Mm-hmm. You only have to interact with Delilah 3 times in the whole game.
Really?
Every other time you can ignore her.
Interesting.
And, you know, she just kind of thinks you're a jerk. They won't talk to her. The ending doesn't change. The ending is the ending regardless.
Yeah,
you know
there is one thing that changes at the end, though.
Yeah. I know.
The picture?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, very. But the relationship that you build with Delilah is sort of specific to you. Yes, there's a set amount of variables. It's not like this can go a ton of different ways.
Right.
You know, but you can be more flirty with her. You can be more restrained because, you know, you do still have a wife. Or you can completely ignore her, you know? And your experience with the game changes drastically because of that. Because a lot of the conversations that, you know, I'm using this for lack of a better term, but I fell in love with her relationship just because it was so, it seemed very real to me.
Yeah, I think their simplification of it, like you never see her, you never really know much about her past, and I think that combined with excellent voice acting, like really hits a home run in terms of it seems like you're really on the walkie-talkie with a real person.
Yeah.
And you don't have like awkward lip sync animation to fool you and take you out of it. You don't have weird behaviors or action or a polygonal face. I think the fact that they kept her in your imagination almost like a good book does really played into the fact, like you're saying, like, hey, like in my head I kind of fill in all the gaps of this relationship and create that part of the story to be whatever I thought it should be or wanted it to be.
Yeah, and I think the thing that the game does the best is it's honest to the way it sets up its characters. Mm-hmm. So whatever you learn about these characters along the way, whatever we think about the ending, it kind of makes sense. Like Delilah, there's hints of her being an alcoholic, and you know, one of my favorite moments in the game is when it gets the most flirty that I ever got with her, is when you're in the walkie-talkie and you're talking about the tequila, and there's a slight hint, like, and again, not to get graphic, but it seemed like they were gonna have like
something was gonna happen.
Yeah, like the equivalent of phone sex on walkie-talkies. And again, I won't get too explicit, but in my mind, that's what was happening. And I'm like, okay, if 2 people are stranded out here for all this time, there's really nothing better to do, and you feel like you have this connection with someone. That's something that, you know, a borderline alcoholic and someone who may or may not have just lost his wife or is losing his wife, like that's something that could realistically happen. I don't know. I think they're very true to these characters. I
mean, I love that Campo Santo stuck to their guns and like created the game.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't. They fully understand that people were gonna feel this way about this ending. They make no gripes about it.
Which
like,
on one hand,
go ahead.
On one hand, it's a beautiful thing. On the other hand, like I thought their game was super awesome, and I'm sure they think their game is super awesome. So don't they want to have at least a positive vibe so that they can make another super awesome game? Like
they've already made their money back and then some, so they get to make another game. So yeah.
I just wonder if going to the next one, people are going to have, because this will have a high completion percentage. It's a short game.
Yeah,
and are they going to have
3
people
hours
be
and
like,
45 minutes.
We don't want to deal with investing money into something that's going to amount to nothing again, or maybe they'll be super intrigued.
You not? I would absolutely pay for their game.
I would too, but again, the average gamer, maybe it's just not a game for the average gamer.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like this is a crazy big budget game. They made their money back in like a day and a half. So and everything from this point on is profit. Right. They are a super small team. They are ex-Telltale people, and you can tell just by the way the game looks. You know, these people came from Telltale.
Is it a bad thing that every Telltale alike, like Life is Strange or Firewatch or whatever, like
they all do it better
than Telltale? Like what is that about? How is Telltale? Maybe it's just the fact that they have so many projects and they just become a grindhouse. I do sort of wish, and I would love someone to do the game that Firewatch you thought it was, like an island mystery game where, you know, more mechanics. Like, okay, you have to collect things and put clues together and stuff. I think if you could combine like The Witness with Firewatch with Lost, you would probably have Game of the Year.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't consider it for Game of the Year or anything. Like, the ending is really like terrible. Really,
it's so bad.
But the experience was so fun. I loved it.
I do. Like I said, I like the fact that you get to explore and, you know, move around this environment. And I think other companies could do similar games in that fashion. And I really like the dialogue system. I like that it wasn't static. I like that you could be walking around doing stuff and either reply or not reply or cut her off or, you know, different things like that, as opposed to like more of the Telltale thing where it's like this person says this and then this person says this and the meter, you know, ticks down. Plus it wasn't episodic. You got to get in and get out, and
I don't know. I thought it was a great experience. The ending is obviously what it is, but once you accept it, right, I'm happy with it.
And removed from the actual ending, I feel good about it. I just know that on the night that I played the game with my girlfriend, we had a 30-minute car ride, and we talked about all of our theories and possible outcomes for the game.
Yeah.
And literally none of them happened in any way.
All the theories were probably cooler than what actually happened.
Oh, for sure.
But like I said, that happens in life sometimes.
Yeah, it does, but
I'm glad that we had this. Like, this is...
I just don't know if that's the place for a game. Like,
says who? I think this a game like this.
Okay, imagine a movie, The Avengers 2, and they gather the Avengers, and they're gonna go fight Ultron, and then they just don't fight Ultron because, like, sometimes you just don't do it.
No, well, no, I know, but that's so different.
Why? Same type of thing.
Nah, all right. I think we've talked about Firewatch a little too much.
Go play it.
I think it's awesome though.
It is a really cool game, and I like that there's just been a lot of variety early this year. We talked about it kind of on our announcement show, pre-little thing. You know, you can walk the line from Firewatch to Far Cry Primal, back to XCOM 2, down to Fire Emblem, up to
The Witness.
The Witness, yeah, just a lot of good variety, and most of them are not from, you know, the top-tier developers outside of Far Cry, and it's kind of cool to see so many... Just the breadth of gaming really hitting home the first quarter of this year. Let's move to some predictions for the rest of the year. 2016 is upon us, and we are going to give you a couple predictions for the year. Every week we'll have a main discussion topic. We wanted to bring that back. We actually started Can't Stop Playing with that and then removed it. I don't even really remember why.
Reasons.
But it's a good reason that we have it back.
Yeah.
And so predictions for 2016... I will kick things off here. I think that, and I've said this before, but I'll just say it again, the NX is going to come out this year, and it will launch with the simultaneous release of Zelda Open World Wii U and Zelda Open World NX. It'll also launch the Mario game, and will come in just as or stronger than the competition and undercut the competition on price.
I don't know, man. So much of that... I don't know which one of these rumors to believe. You know, the whole 900p thing. I'm very apprehensive about everything. I don't even know if this thing's coming out this year. You seem super sure of it, and your reasoning for it makes perfect sense. I wouldn't be surprised if it did come out, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it didn't come out. This is Nintendo after all.
But what do they do if it doesn't come out?
I don't know.
They piece together some Mario collection and throw it out on Wii U. Like,
push back Star Fox.
Right, because that's going to sell so many copies. I mean,
no, I know, but Nintendo doesn't always do what makes the most sense, for better or for worse.
They don't, but there's been some restructuring lately. They have a new president.
Yeah, but how quickly can they make changes? Like,
they've said that the young team and the young designers are the ones who are at the forefront of NX development and game development now.
Yeah. Miyamoto's coming. Is that what it's called? I forget the name.
The mobile thing that looks like a complete waste of time.
Yeah. Miyamoto. I don't know. Yeah.
Miyamoto. It's like Miyamoto, but without the Y.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible name. But like, there's nothing. He's alive.
No, to the game. I know he's alive.
I was gonna say, whoa,
No,
whoa.
He better be. Who's gonna finish Zelda? No, I know he's alive.
Okay. I just think there's no Wii U games announced beyond Star Fox. There are no 3DS games virtually announced at all.
I know.
And
like I said, it makes perfect
They
sense.
say factories have been ramping up.
Yeah.
You know, investors point to a whole lot of things, and there's been analyst calls where they say, like, they are ready to pump out a product. I don't know. We'll find out at E3, but I think that's going to be a big part of the end of the year. One thing that I thought and saw people thinking could deter it is the VR onslaught being sort of the media hog, and Nintendo says, hey, we want to, we want our own space. Because the rumor is that PSVR is coming out this fall.
I think so.
And GameStop's, I believe, is their CEO, in some call mentioned, like, oh, we'll have PlayStation VR this fall to, you know, really boost sales, blah, blah, blah. And that, if that's true, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, PlayStation's killing it. You know, they're obviously dominating the market right now. They're the top seller constantly. A lot of the big games sell primarily on their console. They sell more than their counterparts.
Right.
So Nintendo's going to have to do something crazy special to even put a chink in that armor. Microsoft, for as much as they're trying with the, you know, I think it's unanimous that Microsoft had a better year last year as far as exclusivity goes. They had Tomb Raider, which is a fantastic game. It's on PC now. It's coming to PlayStation this year. But, you know, they had that. They had Halo. They had, you know, Forza, if you're into that. They had a lot of stuff. Sony decided to put their money into just third-party exclusivity. And I don't think that's the reason they're winning. Like, who really knows? But they're so ahead of the pack that I don't know what Nintendo can do to gain ground on this. Parity has to be there, right? If this is like a 900p console, like, just that alone, like, even though it won't matter as much as far as gameplay, I'm sure the games would still be great and everything, but mindshare, the NeoGAF people, the people that fight the console wars on the front lines, that's like ammunition for them to basically just drown this console.
But, like, don't you think, I mean, and granted, dumb people do dumb things, but, okay, they released Wii U mid-generation, and they see why and how it failed. Don't you think that, like, they know putting on a 900p console is just suicide?
I agree. I completely agree. But it also wouldn't surprise me if they did it.
Just can't see them making the same mistake twice when they're desperately disappointed at the Wii U.
I hope not, but, you know, history has shown us that Nintendo does questionable things. Yes, they make amazing games, and somebody had said this on Twitter the other day. Like, they said Nintendo really has like 6 of the top 10 best games of all time, and I don't know what they were referring to, but that they make amazing games. They have, you know, for the entire lifespan of their company. But from the GameCube on, some would even say from the Nintendo 64 on, every decision that they make has been questionable. Yeah. From the tiny discs on the GameCube to the waggle on the Wii to the giant gamepad that no one really except you likes, to like the cartridges on the 64 when everybody was moving to disc-based.
My hope is that handhelds have always been successful for them, and the fact that they're looking to merge the two markets, maybe some of that common sense and success, you know, mixes into the console pot.
It's also a dying market. Whether we want to admit it or not, yes, 3DS is selling fine. I think even that's underwhelming for them, but mobile phones are the way to go. That's where people want to play their mobile games on. You know, everybody has an iPhone, everybody has an Android phone, and that's where they want to play their games. So that cuts into the mobile console market drastically.
For sure.
And to think otherwise is just ludicrous. So I don't know.
I still think this thing comes out in 2016.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it did, just like it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't. Like, I don't know what to expect. You know, I don't know if you've ever had, like, the one weird uncle, right, that if for Christmas gatherings, he drinks a little too much. You don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, that's Nintendo for you?
That's Nintendo for me. You know, sometimes they show up and they're amazing. You have a great time. Everybody's great. And then other times they show up and they've had a little bit too much adult juice or something, and they're just rampant, and they're doing things that no sane person would do. And that's what Nintendo does sometimes. So
it could be. On the VR front, I think that the price of VR is going to, by the end of 2016, December 31st, I think we'll look back and say, wow, VR was a flop. I don't think there's a market to sustain a $600 Oculus, a $1,500 Vive.
There will be one winner. I
mean, even one of them. I don't know that people can afford. I mean, the PlayStation VR seems to be the most likely because people already have the PS4, and therefore they can drop, what, $300
Yeah.
400, but still it seems like so much money for such a limited use. Like there's not going to be AAA games on the PSVR.
I think they.
I think it's super cool.
Maybe not AAA, but that Until Dawn game is coming, and that.
Yeah, but what is that Until Dawn game? Do you know what it is?
It's a railgun shooter.
It is, and are people going to invest $300, $400 to play that?
Maybe. I mean, if No Man's Sky has some crazy like VR compatibility, like there are things they can do to make a big push. So, specifically Sony, I'm talking about here, because they can be the most competitively priced. Because Oculus, expensive, $600, but then you also got to have a pretty beastly PC, so that's like another $1,000 on top of that. The barrier to entry is just too much there for that to be successful, and they're aware of that. I don't think they're expecting to ship like millions of these things right away.
Sure.
Sony, they're in a position to where PlayStation came out about 3 years ago. So right now is where they would do like a PlayStation Slim or something.
Right.
So I think maybe they forego that and put all their marketing money and all their exposure behind PSVR. People buy new iPads every day, and those are like 500. Not every day, every year. And those are on a yearly cycle. Same with phones. There's new phones that are released every year. And people jump every year, even though there's a $600 barrier to entry. So PlayStation VR being $300 to $400, I think people are more willing to spend their money now than they have ever been. So pricing, it's a barrier for the casual audience, but the PlayStation faithful that are there for every big release, the people that are going to play Uncharted, the people that would be excited about a new Resistance, the people that are behind these big first-party pushes, I think you have them. If it works well, if it demos well, and if you could get kiosks and like GameStops and Best Buy, beware about actually wearing it because you can get pink eye. Yeah. But I think once you feel this, I don't know if you've tried VR, PlayStation specifically. I haven't, but you've tried VR. Like, it's a cool experience.
Yeah, PSVR is great. It works well. It looks cool. It didn't give me any sickness. I was a little sort of disoriented when I came out of it, but I'm sure that's something you get adjusted to. I just don't know what... Okay, like say No Man's Sky does have functionality. You can play No Man's Sky for free on your PS4, or you can play No Man's Sky for $400 on your PS4 VR. Like,
well, I mean, but it's a different experience, you know.
Yes and no. Like, you can still play that game.
Well, yeah, but there has to be games that are in development that are VR exclusive that are not coming.
I'm sure they are. I think just the history. The reason I think it will flop outside the pricing is history shows that we connect cool ideas that people are willing to pay for that had zero software that was, alluring enough to really bring over a lot of people.
Maybe that's why so many of these damn first-party Sony studios are so quiet.
They're all VR.
Maybe
God of War VR.
Yeah. We don't know.
It
could be. I think that PlayStation VR has just as much of a chance of succeeding than the NX. I put them on equal. I put them on equal ground. They're both going to be something new that people aren't used to.
Let me ask you this: if NX comes out and PSVR come out, and they're both $300.
Okay.
They both come out Black Friday week.
Yeah.
Which would you buy if you could only buy one?
The one that Zelda's on.
Okay, but Zelda's gonna be on Wii U, so you can already play Zelda.
I don't know.
Would you invest in trying out VR technology that's gonna probably end up, at least in the short term, having a bunch of ho-hum mini games?
Because VR is the future, whether we like it or not. Like I think.
Do you think so?
I think 20, 30 years from now, yeah, absolutely. Because the price of it would be so comparable. We've always been headed that way. Look, I mean, the Virtual Boy was like way ahead of its time.
Yeah, but they integrated 3D tech into TVs, movie theaters, and game systems.
But that's 3D.
Heavily.
That's not virtual reality. It's very different.
Very different.
Well, okay, look, if we want to group virtual reality and augmented reality together, then yeah, that's the future. That's what I'm saying. Maybe more augmented reality is the future.
Okay.
But some type of reality that isn't our own is what I'm saying. We're headed there eventually, and I don't know how much we can do about that.
There's just some, I've heard a lot that the issue why they're not bringing AAA games to like PlayStation VR outside of development and fear of sales is it's nauseating to walk and like move and see yourself move through that space when you're not moving. And so they have to overcome that barrier somehow.
Yeah, plus I think you get used to it.
Because that's, from what I've heard, that's why they're not just porting like, BioShock in, VR is because apparently your brain gets freaked out when it thinks the eyes tell it it's moving and your body isn't.
Yeah, at first, but I think our brains will adjust. Our brains can adjust to damn near anything. being in super high altitudes at first, you can't breathe. You can't, like, you just, you're not used to it. You adjust and, it goes away. Being on an airplane, the first few, the first half an hour of being up there, like, it feels weird. The air pressure's not the same. Everything's just disorienting a little bit, but you get used to it and then you enjoy the rest of the plane ride. Like, I think that's how VR is. Like,
so you're just gonna have to go through conditioning. Like, you will vomit 5 times, but eventually this will be amazing.
Maybe, maybe, man. I don't know.
Like, on the box, like, the cost is not only $400, but also a few sick days.
Better minds than us, are probably working on a way to get people to not be sick.
Do you think that either Xbox One or PS4 gets a console redesign this year?
Xbox. No way. I don't think PS4 does it.
I don't know what they redesign. I'm looking at here, and it's like
it's already small. It's slim.
There's no power brick. What do you do?
Yeah, I think Xbox is big. It's it has an ugly power brick.
Yeah, I would hope that they'd put the power brick inside, up the hard drive, and make it smaller.
Yeah. Plus those ugly vents. I don't like them.
I like them because you can do this.
Yeah, I don't like that. It sounds cheap.
Oh.
Yeah.
What games do you think will be Game of the Year contenders, or what games do you think will win Game of the Year by the end of 2016?
All right, I'll talk about my main one in our next little segment. We're running a little bit long, by the way, so we'll speed up a little bit. But I think the obvious one for me, besides the one I'm going to talk about next, is Horizon.
Yeah, if that comes out, do you think that makes it out this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
That
game.
Sony's great at delaying games beyond their holiday release schedule. We saw it with Uncharted.
That game has to have been in development for a long time. The reason Uncharted got pushed back is Naughty Dog needed more time. Okay. I think Horizon has been in development for a long time. Okay. I think even before what was the Killzone? Shadowfall. There you go. Yeah, I think even before that, like, there was a secondary team working on this, and even Shadowfall was 3 years ago. So I think this thing's close to being done, or they wouldn't have shown it. They don't want another The Last Guardian situation where they announce a game and it just keeps getting pushed and pushed. And even with the Uncharted pushbacks, even though they're not that drastic, I think they're feeling it.
Yeah. When does Last Guardian drop? Is that a holiday game?
Summer. I mean, they don't traditionally release games in summer, but it seems like a game that you release around E3.
Yeah.
They do that every once in a while. They did it with Infamous. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Mass Effect Andromeda releases, and that wins Game of the Year.
I hope that if that releases this year, man, that's definitely a front runner. I can't wait to get back into that world. I can't wait. But they haven't shown a whole lot. That's the only thing.
They haven't, but my hope is they go with like a Fallout style thing where it's like show it at E3, boom, it's coming out in 3 months or 4 months or whatever. I'm just excited to see how they expand and upgrade that world and that universe and that gameplay with the new consoles, and with this being, a 3-4 year into the cycle game and not like, oh, it's coming out launch year. You'd think that this should be able to be a pretty awesome showpiece from a graphical standpoint and a gameplay standpoint and just like a world standpoint.
What I like about this year is that franchises that are big but not AAA seem to be like spread out pretty well. Hitman, even though that's not a traditional Hitman game, the beta's fun. Mirror's Edge is another one, like
Deus Ex.
Yeah, Deus Ex, like big franchises, but not AAA, and I think they're putting them out at a good time. I think so.
Yeah, I hope that Mass Effect comes out. EA recently announced Titanfall 2 and basically Battlefield 5.
They can take their time all they want with that. I don't care.
Titanfall 2 will be out next year, so I think they drop Battlefield and Mass Effect as sort of there.
Keep that another year if you want it.
What? Titanfall?
Yeah, keep it,
man. I love Titanfall 1. It just had some issues.
I love the gameplay, but you want to talk about a game that's a bare game? Right there.
But they've confirmed single-player campaign.
Yeah.
And multiplayer. And if they can build on their mistakes. I mean, that seems like one that was also rushed out to meet the launch of consoles and try to push units. And it did. I mean, 10+ million copies sold and running. Yeah. So that's pretty good. Do you think we see any Rockstar game at E3 or released this year or even hinted at this year?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're still pretty focused on the multiplayer stuff. I don't know how long they can keep this up for, the multiplayer for
and
GTA
releasing
5.
Nothing.
Yeah, like they're releasing such small stuff.
Right.
Like every holiday they do like a tiny like cool event. Like it's cool, like, but I don't play that stuff. So I mean, I would love it, but we don't get a new GTA or anything like that. I think bringing back Bully, Red Dead, I think is the only like really strong possibility.
Yeah, that it gets announced at E3. The hard part is
They don't do E3.
No, so it's like, and would it be ready to come out this year?
Yeah, who knows?
No.
And again, traditionally, Rockstar just doesn't do E3. That's not something that their company
Right.
believes in.
Right.
I mean, fewer and fewer companies believe in E3 these days. Look at what EA is doing.
I mean, they believe in E3. They just believe that they're cool enough to have their own show. Which
Well,
is
not just cool enough, just that their marketing dollars are spent better elsewhere. Like instead of, when we were at E3, that giant hall where Activision and EA were, that EA took up a huge chunk.
I mean, but they're
that.
still doing that. They're still spending that money. I'm sure that they're.
I think it costs less to just do it on your own.
Really?
I think so because you're competing for that floor space. So Activision, EA, Warner's, they all want as much space as possible to show their cool stuff, and EA goes and purchases a giant chunk of it. And I'm sure that Activision doesn't let that go.
You just have to think like, okay, now they have to pay for power, and now they have to pay for security, and now they have to pay for
but they're just
insurance,
renting.
And now
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a business person necessarily, but I think like bidding wars happen as far as who's gonna have what on the show floor for that big hall where all the third party people are at.
Yeah, I heard a rumor of who's gonna take their front slot, and it makes me happy. So.
Is it who I think it is?
Who knows? What about open world games? The trend of those being all we get,
That's
Ubisoft.
not all we get.
Well, from AAA.
Okay, to an extent, not even.
A large portion of what we get is open world, and
yeah.
Ubisoft is feeling some franchise fatigue by having Assassin's Creed take a year off. Who knows what Watch Dogs 2 is like? Do you think by the end of the year we have any sort of pushback against the open world craze that has kind of filled the first few years of this generation?
I think it's beginning. Where Mirror's Edge isn't like open world, like it's a sandbox again, but it's not open world. And we have Quantum Break coming up. Dark Souls 3 is coming.
I think it'll be really telling at E3 this year.
Gears is coming. Recore is coming. Like there's a lot of things that are coming that aren't open world. I think they know. I think they know that they can't just keep putting out these like open world games and expect people to be happy. So
I think it'll be interesting to see at E3 like what 2017 games are announced and how that, if we see a difference or any sort of new kind of trend. Ubisoft also announced that they will have a new IP announced and launched before March 2017.
Dude, For Honor is coming.
But on top of For Honor. They have an unannounced new AAA IP.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, that's not open world either. So
no, there is some good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know.
As
long as there's a balance. I understand that right now the industry loves open world, and that's what people want to buy. The longer the game, the better. The more hours you can sink, no matter how insignificant into the game, the better it is for your audience. But I think that even Destiny, look at Destiny, it's dying.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing
Rapidly.
to do. Like even Nick, Tetra Ninja, big Destiny fan, he absolutely loved it. He's played like 1,000 hours of the game or whatever.
Right.
He tweets about it like, man, Destiny is so dead. Like
nothing to do.
There's a big expansion coming supposedly, but Destiny 2 got pushed back.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see. And then before we move on to News Bites, our exciting, delicious news segment, what game do you think will be the biggest disappointment and biggest surprise of this year?
All right. Biggest disappointment, I want to go with... All right, give me a moment. Do you have one off the top of your head so I can think?
I think... I'm going to say that I think that Gears of War 4 could be a really big surprise. I don't think people are expecting a lot from it.
Yeah.
And if they're able to mix up the gameplay, not just do the traditional, Marcus runs behind cover and pops and fires at locusts, but somehow mix things up, especially multiplayer-wise, I think that could be a big, not only seller for Microsoft, but a nice surprise. I would say Horizon, but I think everyone has such huge expectation for that. If it was like Game of the Year material, I don't think anyone would be surprised by it.
Yeah.
I think the NX could be a surprise, but that's an entire console.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm afraid that Mirror's Edge might be disappointing. I hate to say that.
Me too. Yeah, that's definitely one I would put on there.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, but what we played, it was so limited.
Yeah.
But limited is in quantity. Like, we didn't play a lot of it, but it was also limited as in, like, hey, we've kind of done this.
Right.
And what we did wasn't, like, super interesting. So
I think the Call of Duty release for this year could be either or super surprising or super disappointing.
I'm so done with Call of Duty, man.
But
like, because this one was so good, like, and even this, like, the sales are declining, like,
Right.
no matter what they do. Like, this is a last year's Black Ops
3.
Yeah, 3. Great release. Zombies, was amazing. The campaign people liked, the Zombies campaign plus the multiplayer. What else can you do to entice people? Like, you're already building, like, damn near the best package of the year.
And that's exactly why I think either it'll be super disappointing or they'll change things up and it'll be surprising. I mean, do they dare go Ghost 2? Do they bring in some totally new franchise?
I think Ghost is a complete failure. I don't think we ever get another Ghost.
Do they just go back to World War II? Is it ready for that?
I don't know.
World at War 2?
People have been wanting another World at War. That's the thing that people want. So, the one I think Deus Ex is going to surprise a lot of people in a great way. I think
hope so.
Deus
It looks
Ex
fantastic.
Yeah. So,
do you think Dark Souls 3 will turn out to be like a nice cherry on top for that franchise, or sort of the stick that breaks the camel's back?
I know what you wanted to say there.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll fit in nicely. I think it'll do what previous Dark Souls games do. I think everybody loved Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 2 was cool. Bloodborne, cool. Like, I think it's in a fit in that mold. I don't think it's gonna necessarily blow anyone's mind. I think that the gameplay refinements are pretty obvious. It's much quicker. It's taking cues from Bloodborne as far as the pace of everything, really. I hope they take more cues from Bloodborne as far as the structure of the game goes. In Dark Souls 2, it's very easy to get lost and not know where you're going next. So just structure it to where that's not super confusing, like in Bloodborne. And Bloodborne, you always know what you're trying to do next because you unlock that next area, and
Right.
it's pretty obvious. So just make it like a little bit more straightforward as far as where to go next, and keep the gameplay as it is. Pretty hardcore and a little bit quicker, but super mechanics driven and stat driven with our leveling up your character and everything. I think it'll be fine. It's gonna live exactly where the others lived. I don't think it's gonna do anything drastic too.
Yeah, I think really it doesn't have a whole lot of room to grow, only room to sour people on that type of game. But I hope it turns out great. I really like what I played thus far, and I'm going to play a ton more next week, so I'll have a lot to say about that, I'm sure, in the future. The hero shooter genre, or just like in general, this MOBA infusion into consoles, everything from Overwatch to Battleborn to Paragon, it'll be interesting to see if there's more that are announced by the end, by E3 and before the end of the year, and B,
I don't think so. I think a couple of them die off.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's hard to see that all three of those, even just those three, would all be successful.
Our early word on Paragon seems super positive.
But I've also heard it's super, like some of the previews I read, super MOBA, like not doing what they expected it to do, which was like sort of FPSifies MOBAs. It's just basically a MOBA on consoles that requires 5 players coordinating, extensively, and is not going to be solo or noob friendly at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't played. I haven't read a lot of the previews. Just the ones that I have read have been pretty positive.
They were positive as an MMO or a MOBA. I thought they were going to go more Smite, and
yeah. I mean, even Smite's just very MOBA. I'm interested in what Lawbreakers does, even though it's a different game. Free to play. Cliffy B. I can't say his name properly all the time.
Blazinski.
Yeah, I almost had it. I don't know. So it's a weird state for free to play stuff. Overwatch isn't free to play anymore,
right?
But that game is obviously a hit. I think they're gonna have no problem selling that game.
Yeah, it's just a weird package at $60.
Yeah, very weird. But so is Street Fighter. So is Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
So is Battlefront, and they're all doing fine. So
yeah, that's something else. At the end of 2016, do people feel enough anger and disappointment in games like that's put to an end, or are we just gonna forevermore get these half-release early access games that are boxed and charged, full price?
Battlefront sold over 12 million copies, and I don't know a single person that still plays that thing. Not a single one. I'm sure they exist.
Yeah.
And they might be 8-year-olds.
That's Titanfall's like a similar case, like 10 million copies, and it seemed like the player base fell off so fast.
Yeah. I just don't know.
At the end of the day, they cash their checks, though. And we are going to cash our checks and move to news bites.
Yeah, and emphasis on bites. We're not going to go super in-depth into any type of news. Zach's picking a couple of things, and I'm picking a couple of things.
Yeah, we're each going to pick just 1 or 2 things each week that interest us and talk on those. I will let Gabe kick it off since he wanted to mention this game previously.
Yeah, I wanted to mention this I have a feeling that this might, be in contention for Game of the Year, even though it's so early in the year. That's the only thing that has me feeling hesitant about it. But Quantum Break, the fact that it's coming to PC, super, super positive.
And free, basically, if you pre-order the Xbox One version.
Yeah. So, man, that game looks so good. The new gameplay that they've shown, the way that the powers work, the way that they're doing like FMV stuff to tell you the story, which is I think something that a lot of games should do. Like, I don't know why the cutscenes need to be, all digital when you can get some actors to do some really cool stuff.
Right.
And the actors, I'm a big fan of a lot of the actors that they have on there. That game, man, looks special. Remedy has a great track record. I feel like playing Alan Wake just for no reason, just even talking about them.
I really hope the game, drifts more towards Alan Wake than Max Payne, because so far we've seen very combat heavy, obviously story heavy in sort of the integration with the live action stuff, but will it have that weird kind of exploratory, unique charm that Alan Wake had in the gameplay segments, or will it mostly be like shoot, 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 okay, sit and watch, shoot, 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 sit and watch?
Yeah, I don't know, but they're good with the storytelling. The first couple of Max Payne games that they did,
yeah,
people love them. Story wise and gameplay, that they did great stuff. Alan Wake, super interesting story. Gameplay was on point as well. So they know how to tell the story in a video game. I think they've mastered that.
I'm excited for it, and I'll let you know how it is next week.
Yeah, and kudos to them for basically giving away a PC copy to everybody that pre-orders it on Xbox One. That's a super consumer-friendly move. I think they should do this with every game.
Supposedly they are with all of their exclusives, like Gears of War 4 and...
Yeah, no reason not to. And make, like Street Fighter, I'm playing on PC, you're playing on PS4, we can play against each other. Do that with Gears 4. Why can't we have a PC player base and a console player base that could just play together? Why not?
And we've seen some people complain about it, but, the counter to that I like the most is... the more these games sell, the more cool games you get and the more exclusives you'll get. So it's not sabotaging the exclusive market. It's actually enhancing the exclusive market, because then the more likely a game like Quantum Break gets a sequel, the more likely, that a Sunshine, say Sunset Overdrive came out on both, maybe it would have pushed enough units to, warrant a sequel. I think so.
Because, PC gaming is bigger than it's ever been.
Right.
There's games that become profitable just based off their PC release alone. And if it were a console exclusive, who knows? Like you said, not Quantum Break. Sunset Overdrive is probably never going to get a sequel because no one played that thing.
I feel really bad for yawning so much. And I don't know if you're yawning over there. I can't see you. But I have just been whipped lately. It's not that I'm bored at all.
Yeah. I actually think this has been a fantastic show.
It has been. I like the news bit. Jeff Keighley pulled from Kojima that he's starting a new project and he's very motivated, I guess, after all the Konami craziness. And apparently it's going to really push design and gameplay in unique ways, which is always exciting to hear. We talk about open world fatigue or sequel fatigue, but somebody who is a big person, not going the indie route, but saying, hey, I'm going to make something massive and something very future, forward looking. I think that's super exciting. Bethesda supposedly has 3 new projects that they're working on that are very different from what they've done before. That has me excited, as opposed to getting, a recycle and reuse format over and over again. So I like just kind of this week, there's been 2 instances of Hideo Kojima and Todd Howard mentioning hey, we're working on brand new things that are big and different. And I think that's the best news possible to me, because it's those kind of projects that are the most exciting for me. Indie does things different. AAA does things big, but usually similar. So smash the 2 together, big and different. That's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm super. What is Bethesda doing? Because I don't know how you felt about this game, but I liked it a lot. The Evil Within. I think that was a nice, big game that wasn't necessarily AAA. I liked it a lot. It was more traditional horror.
I hope what they're doing is taking their design, whatever you want to call it, philosophy, and applying it to sort of a more 2016, 2017, 2018, world, as opposed to, hey, we've made Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim and Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 3 and blah, blah, blah. Taking some of the things they do well and finding a way to reinvent them for, the future. They said they're not even going to talk about these games for a few years, so they're clearly probably not even on this generation. But it's exciting to know that they are trying to push the limits rather than just, hey, we've got Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 on the horizon.
I wouldn't mind Evil Within 2, though. I'll take that.
But that's not Bethesda developed.
No, I know, but they're publishing. So.
True. Yeah.
I'm talking about the fact that they're doing the
press
event
conference.
Again. Yeah. They're doing that again. So they have to have something to show.
Dishonored 2. And
I would either be happy with a new Wolfenstein or a new Evil Within. I don't want both. Don't just give me all sequels. Like, give us something new. But I would take either one of those on top of, Dishonored 2, which is already coming. Plus,
does Prey 2 make a reappearance?
Nah,
as something new?
Keep that.
Space bounty hunting sounds awesome. Emails, we don't have any. Because
we don't have, but send them in.
Yeah. This is the first time we're telling you where to send them in. We have a new email address. It'll be in the description. It'll be on Twitter. But it is hellosupercast@gmail.com. So say hello to us. Send us your questions, your comments, your thoughts. If you have life questions, if you have game questions, if you have comments about releases, something you've been playing, your thoughts, let us know in the comments or on the email, rather. And please just send it once. I read all of them, so you don't need to send it 10 times. That just makes me not want to read your email. So hellosupercast@gmail.com. Come say hello, and next week we will incorporate all of those.
Yeah.
Now, that brings us to the end. We are going to, well, let's save this for the next show, just because we didn't even mention it. So let's just not even,
Yeah, plus we ran a little long, so.
Yeah. Did we mention it?
We did.
We did mention it.
Yeah, we did.
Then let's do it. Let's do it quick.
You're fine. You want to talk about Deadpool?
We're going to talk about Deadpool in a spoiler cast format. So we'll do that now. And actually, we'll say goodbye first.
Yeah, say goodbye.
And then we'll do that. So goodbye is important to say because we love you so much. And we really appreciate you being excited for this new podcast and tweeting at us, emailing us, Instagramming us about like, when's it coming? And we hope you're pumped for SUPERcast, Super Ultimate Podcast Extreme Remix. The greatest name on iTunes and SoundCloud. We're excited. We like what we're doing. We're going to be refining the format over the first couple episodes and then killing it every week for you guys. Make sure to send those emails in, hellosupercast@gmail.com. Leave us a review on iTunes so you can get entered to win that $200 Amazon gift card. And share it around with your friends, family, even your foes. Sometimes it's nice to make your enemies your new best buddies.
Yeah.
And next week we've got more Street Fighter V, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. We are going to touch on the Solus Project, which is a super cool indie game, as well as some...
super hot, I think.
Super hot.
I'm going to play through that. That seems cool. That seems very cool. Have you seen that?
I have seen the early alpha, or whatever the first thing that they put out before. So, yeah. So it'll be another good show. And then the following week... we'll also got Fire Emblem Fates. The following week, we will have Zelda Twilight Princess HD. We will have probably Dark Souls 3, as well as Quantum Break, and I'm not sure on the embargoes, but you're looking at some really cool shows with some really cool games coming up. And let us know your thoughts on this show and what you think of the logo, the name, and that is going
I'm a fan of the logo.
I like the logo. It's very clean. Yeah. Shout out to my guy who designed it. Unfortunately, his Twitter name is in another language, so I don't know. Well, let's see. His Twitter name is Tozfu, @Tozfu, Tozfu. I'll put his link in the description just so he can get some props for doing a nice job on that logo. I like the orange. I like the red and the white. I think it's very striking.
It is. I like it a lot.
I think it fits us well, and hopefully this show fits you well. We can announce that even though this one went up on the weekend, just to kind of welcome us back, it will be a Thursday show next week. So tune in on Thursday.
It'll be Thursday show every week, not just next week.
Yeah, no, a different day every week. We're just gonna spin the roulette, and whenever it comes out, it comes out. So next Thursday, whatever date that ends up being, I think it's the 25th.
No more dates.
The 25th, but no more dates. So forget that. But the 25th, you'll have the next show. And,
all right. So Deadpool, very quickly.
Hold on. I didn't.
I
wanted to say thanks again for watching. Make sure to leave us a review. Email us at hellosupercast. And again, we super appreciate your support. And until next week, we are super.
No, until next week, have a super day.
Until next week. or fine. How about we'll just say, see you next time. Have a super week. How's
there
that?
You go.
That good?
That's perfect.
And then you can insert the perfect sound effects right there. All right, Deadpool.
Okay. I want to hear what you thought because
I'm not the person for this movie, right?
Did you like it at all? Did you have a good time?
I really did have a good time, and I'm sort of the oddball who doesn't find that kind of humor enjoyable or funny at all. But I liked the movie because it was structured and portrayed so differently from all the rest. And so, that was entertaining and engaging to me. The fact that, it had a unique structure. You see Deadpool, and then he kind of goes back in time to tell things. There wasn't some super long origin story of, he's this nerdy guy who gets bit by a spider, some dumb build-up. It was kind of in the action. I liked how bold they were with the choices they made. Like even the intro credits were super Deadpool, and the fact that he just talking to the audience, doing his thing, and I guess mostly, I thought the fight scenes were pretty cool, and some of the gun stuff was cool, especially on the overpass.
Yeah.
But mostly, I just like the fact that it wasn't a predictable story. I mean, in some ways, but the format is less. It's a less used format, so it wasn't okay. Here they come, save the world, blah blah blah. Like it was a much more just localized story.
The world was not in danger in this movie. So, and you grow tired of movies that were like everything is like on such a grand scale. Everything's about saving the world. Like Deadpool really just wants revenge. He wants his like face back so he can get his hot girlfriend back.
Right.
That was it. Like it's as simple as it gets. It was a revenge movie, and it's super Deadpool. The breaking the fourth wall stuff. The jokes about Green Lantern. The jokes about the Deadpool from Wolverine Origins. The jokes about Ryan Reynolds being so damn hot, which he is.
Yeah.
You know, we can't deny this. Yeah. It was as Deadpool as it gets, and it's successful, very successful. So I think people were clamoring for a rated R superhero movie in any fashion. But the fact that this one is like so true to the source material, like it's not like they just said, "Oh, Civil War is gonna be rated R," just for no reason.
Right.
I don't think that would have been as successful. But this, since the character has such a like rich history of being what it is, I mean, it resonated with people.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with Wolverine 3 being rated R. If that's just going to be blood and guts.
Well, if it's Old Man Logan, are you familiar with the story at all?
No.
They can't do a lot of it because it involves a lot of other heroes that they can't use.
Right.
It involves an incestuous Hulk family
Lovely.
as the main bad guys. It involves as a giant Venom dinosaur. It involves it involves crazy stuff. Hawkeye with one arm. Like there's a lot of crazy stuff in that story, which the big rumor is that it is Old Man Logan.
Okay.
But so much of that stuff they just can't do. And even if they could, like, borrow the characters, they wouldn't do. You're not going to see any of these things that I mentioned.
Dino Venom, yeah.
Yeah. Plus, the really adult themes
right.
that so I think it'll be a variation on Old Man Logan. It's super violent. I think that's where the R rating comes in, and I think maybe you get him finally cursing. I think we finally maybe see him doing like the whole berserker thing, where he's just absolutely brutal and blood everywhere. I think if it ends up being rated R, because it's not even confirmed that it is, I think they're talking about it and they're gonna weigh their options.
Yeah.
But whether we like it or not, Deadpool is gonna shift superhero movies in some fashion, which is so weird to say. Like, this is Deadpool. He's a joke character. Like, yeah, people like him, but people don't like him because he's like such a nuanced character or anything like that. They just like it tickles the immature side in all of us. We're all immature in some ways, and I think that's what appeals to us. But the fact that we will get more R-rated superhero movies, I think that's just plain as day. For like $150+ million on opening weekend for a superhero movie about Deadpool, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think Fox is going to go all in on making these movies more adult themed. Disney, I don't think we ever see like Avengers be R-rated. Like, there's no way. That's owned by Disney.
Right.
I don't think we see that. But maybe this sort of encourages DC to do some stuff where.
Yeah, I mean, this movie did make me really excited for Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman, almost for the wrong reason, which is that like they do take a much more serious slant on their storylines and plots and characters. So without like the traditional Marvel cheese and the immature stuff in Deadpool, like if they made, say, Batman vs Superman R-rated, how would that modify that movie, or what could they then do to improve them? Because I felt like, I don't know about you or most people, but for me, just that's all I can give you is my opinion. I felt like the R-ratedness of this movie didn't improve it in any way. I know it was more true to the character, but I'm excited to see, like, can they use the R rating to improve, like, the plot and the, more of the story side of things. Like,
well, I mean, the themes would change. But,
yeah.
I mean, that's about it. It's not. I mean, the story isn't better because it's R rated. I don't think extra cursing or some nudity is gonna make a story better.
No, but just theme wise, I guess, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, like it, go darker.
Yeah.
Let's say we have something like the Killing Joke on screen. That would be insane, and that would need to be R rated.
Or in the same way that like Daredevil was like a harder take on, superhero stuff.
Yeah, so, something like that. I feel like we didn't talk about the movie a whole bunch, just about what its impact is gonna be.
Yeah.
I liked it. I don't think it's people are saying it's like their favorite comic book movie. Now I don't fall in line with that at all.
I think people say that about every new comic book movie that comes out.
I don't think so. I hated Avengers since day one.
Avengers 2?
Yeah, I hate that movie.
Really? I remember doing a show with you.
And Max was the one that loved it.
Okay.
I don't like that movie.
Okay.
Yeah, not at all. So yeah, it was cool. It was very Deadpool-y. That's the way I tweeted it. Like, if you're a fan of Deadpool, which I'm not a huge fan of him, you're gonna like this. A lot of people put it this way, and I think it's super appropriate. If you thought the marketing for Deadpool was entertaining, you're gonna find the movie entertaining.
And we talked about before the show, like, there's nothing really to spoil because ultimately not a lot happened. It was mostly just Deadpool on screen being Deadpool for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, and the story, like, it's super cliche. You know, it's a revenge story.
Right.
He gets the girl at the end. You know, is that a huge spoiler? Not really.
Yeah.
So
it's mostly the entertaining moments about.
I think it's fun. I think the movie should continue to get support though, just because it's important that an R-rated movie that's a superhero movie it doing this well. Like I said, it's gonna have a ripple effect on the comic book movie industry.
I was a little sad that Colossus was so weak. He's one of my favorite X-Men.
He's not weak.
He couldn't even beat up the girl.
Eh.
She wasn't even an X-Men. She was just.
I mean, that's sort of Colossus is like that. That's him. That's how he is. It's not that he couldn't do it. He doesn't like hitting girls. Like he's a pansy. That's how he always is.
Okay.
Like even in the comic books, like he's so strong and he's like damn near indestructible.
But he doesn't.
But he's a softie.
Okay.
He likes drawing. Like his favorite. He sits there and paints.
Nice.
That's what he likes doing. So that's his character. He didn't not win that fight right away because he couldn't. It's just he didn't want to hit a girl. He said it. I don't really like hitting girls.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, I liked it. I had fun. I was surprised that I did enjoy it as much as I did because, like I said, typically those style of movies just aren't my thing. So testament to the acting, I guess, and the overall just characterization of Deadpool and the excitement he brought to the screen.
I'm more excited for X-Force movie coming. Ryan Reynolds said that's what's next. For Deadpool 2, Cable's going to be around, probably lead into X-Force. I'm more excited for that.
What is X-Force?
X-Force involves time travel and a alternate version of like X-Men where like it's more adult. Cable is Jean Grey and Scott Summers' son, Cyclops, and it's their son. He time travels and comes from a dystopian like universe and super serious about like saving everything, but then Deadpool's Deadpool and Deadpool doesn't really care. So their interactions are super interesting. So I'm more excited for that.
Could be, should be, probably will be cool. We'll do more of these in the future, whether they're movies or games or whatnot, spoiler sections. If they're big enough, we'll probably split them off into their own little mini show. If they're not, we'll just attach them onto the end here.
Yeah. Plus, we're really late on this.
So we just want to kind of give you a little bit and just fill out the episode so you know what traditionally the Supercast will be like. That will do it, though. So once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a very super, ultimate Podcast Extreme Remix week.
Bye.